Hello, I'm Emma Green. I'm the tennis elbow queen and the host of the Your Healing Team podcast. Today, I am going to talk all about braces. Now, I am going to specifically talk about bracing for tennis elbow. However, a lot of the principles that I mention regarding bracing can be applied to a brace that you use on any other part of your body, whether it's your back, your shoulder, your knee, your ankle. The principles are going to be similar. Now, if we talk about tennis elbow, probably the most common brace that most people have seen is the forearm strap. And this can be helpful for tennis elbow in certain circumstances. The research shows us that it can be helpful in the early stages, and early stages is basically 3 months or less. So if you've had pain for 3 months or less, the forearm strap can be helpful. Now, this type of brace, obviously forearm strap, it's a strap that goes around your forearm. It doesn't go over the uncomfortable area. It goes below that. So it goes around the forearm, a couple of inches below the tender spot, but you need to be able to wear it as tight as you can without your hand going blue or tingling. And the reason for that is it's called a counterforce brace. You're basically putting it on as tight as you can so that you are supporting the muscles in that area, which takes the tension off the tendon, which makes the tendon feel better. This is a pain relieving strategy. It's not going to heal the tendon, but it can give you some pain relief. And obviously that's important. Now, the downside to it is that because you have got that strap on so tightly around the muscles underneath switch off. They kind of go, something else is doing my job, I can switch off. And that's part of the reason why it works, because as the muscles work less, they don't pull on the tendon, it doesn't hurt. However, when the muscles don't work as much and they switch off, the muscles will weaken. As the muscles weaken, you're then going to either become, well, you'll become more reliant on the brace, but you're also going to feel more symptoms because now the muscles are weaker. And so it's kind of a catch-22. So the strap brace can be helpful in the early stages, but again, kind of use it minimally. Certainly don't wear it overnight. We don't ever want something tight on around a limb at nighttime. Our circulation slows down at night. You have something tight on there, it can predispose you to deep vein thrombosis, which is not a good situation. We'd much rather deal with tennis elbow than DVTs. So never wear anything tight at night for that reason. But it can be helpful if you have a job where it's going to be uncomfortable, or if you're doing something a little bit out of the ordinary. Say, for example, you're moving house, you know, you're going to be packing boxes, you're going to be lifting. There are certain things that you can't avoid. Wearing a strap like that could potentially be helpful for those times, but don't wear it all the time. If you know you're going to be packing and lifting a box, and then you're going to be, I don't know, sitting in the car while somebody drives you somewhere, just imagine, then you can wear the strap while you're doing the activity with your arms and then take it off. A lot of times people will just loosen it, almost wear it as a bangle around their wrist until they need it again and then put it back on. You can do the same thing at your job. Now, the time when that brace is not going to be helpful is if you have a nerve component as well. And most frequently it's radial tunnel syndrome. And when somebody puts that strap on, it's going to make them feel worse. So if you've tried that, it's made you feel worse, it's likely that it's not just a tennis elbow that you're dealing with. There could be some underlying nerve issue there as well. When you put that strap on really tightly, it presses on the nerve's not happy, and that's what you feel. So the first type of brace, and that type of brace is never worn at night. As I say, we don't have anything tight on our limbs at night, but you wouldn't wear that at night. It's only specifically for use. Now, sometimes people will say, can I wear that to play tennis? And I say, it depends. It's really up to you. As long as you understand that by putting the brace on, the muscles underneath are going to switch off. They are going to weaken, and then you've got to build your strength up from kind of a lower point, if you like. You're going to be weaker before you can get stronger. If that makes sense. So it is kind of a catch-22. If you're playing the Wimbledon final tomorrow and you need the brace to play, go play. But if it's just because you want to play, you don't want to take time off, you might be lengthening your rehab time frame by doing that, but it's a personal choice, entirely up to you. So that's the first type of brace, the forearm strap. Now, the second type of brace that can be helpful for tennis elbow is a wrist extension splint. And these are sold and marketed as carpal tunnel night splints. Basically, they go on the wrist, they hold the wrist into a little bit of extension. This is a night splint. So obviously you don't wear it tight. It's relatively loose around the arm, but it keeps you in that position. It stops you from going into flexion. And what I mean by flexion is the wrist coming down towards the forearm, almost like the fetal position. Sometimes people will curl up at nighttime. They're in that fetal position. Their hands go into this position. What that does is it closes down the carpal tunnel. And so sometimes people do get symptoms into the hand, hence it's the carpal tunnel night splint. Now, the reason we use it for tennis elbow is because it keeps you more in that extended position. It keeps the tension off the muscle, which keeps the tension off the tendon. If you go into that flex position, that is going to pull more on the muscle and more on the tendon. And so that's the reason that the wrist extension splint can be helpful. If you have carpal tunnel or you're getting any kind of tingling, pins and needles numbness into your hand at nighttime, that could be helpful. Or if you tend to sleep with your hands curled up in that fetal position, then it can also be helpful for that. So definitely something to try. Other people really find that it is the bent position of the elbow is causing problem with the elbow. There are some elbow extension splints on the market that keep the elbow extended. Most clients I've worked with cannot find a comfortable one. A lot of them are very rigid and it just feels really uncomfortable when you're asleep and you're trying to move and it just wakes them up. There was a soft one on the market that one of my clients had found years ago. And I think if it's softer, the better. What I have found with patients is it can be helpful if you get a hand towel, roll it up into a sausage shape, lie it along your arm, and then lightly bandage it on so that it's not going to move. What that will do is then you're still able to bend your arm, but you're not going to be able to bend it all the way. And again, sometimes that can be helpful for the elbow. It's a case of give it a try, test it and see. But a lot of the braces are going to be temporary strategies. They're going to be something that you use on a temporary basis. None of the braces that we've talked about will heal tennis elbow. That no brace will heal tennis elbow. We know that we have to do different things in order to do that. However, if this can give you some pain relief and help to make you feel better, that's going to help you along your healing journey faster. So give it a try. If it feels uncomfortable, it's not going to work for you. Take it off. Don't try and say, oh, well, I need to do this. This is the tennis elbow brace. This should work for me. No, it's most likely maybe there are other things going on for you specifically, and it's not going to work for you. And that's okay. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I hope to see you on the next episode. Take care. Bye.